So, welcome back from the coffee break. We are now continuing the good practices session with 4 more presentations. I invite on stage or to be prepared online our next speakers, Fatma Ateli Karakoç of the Karadeniz Technical University, George Triantafilidis, manager at Mines Technologies and Environmental Sciences, please. Milen Baltov, Vice Rector of Research and International Cooperation, Burgas Free University, Bulgaria, and Kamel Labibes, Chairman of IAM Sailing Europe. The first presentation will raise public awareness and reducing marine litter for protection of the Black Sea ecosystem. Speaking on Litauter project, Ms. Fatma Ateli Karakoç.
Thank you very much. Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, thank you very much. First of all, I want to thank you for inviting me in this very good forum. I would like to present the project almost finalized in this year. The rising public awareness for the marine litter pollution and sustainability of the marine environment. The project under this project, we work 6 partners from 4 different countries. From Turkey, the lead partner, from Georgia, the NGO, Romania, 1 NGO, 1 institute, Bulgaria, 1 NGO, 1 institute. The aim of this project, in fact, as we scientists, for many years, work on different pollutions, like air pollution, chemical pollution, radioactive pollution, and many of them. But none of us really interested in this litter pollution since the old huge litter continents created or come up, let's say. Then they realized national and international regional supports to understand the huge problem is come up on the earth. So the financially supported for that kind of activities. In our project, with Litauter project, is supported by NECBC Black Sea Basin Program 2014-2020. In this project, we have many activities to understand the public awareness level and to train them to reach some level because we know that although many qualitative analysis, qualitative research is, or many rules and or the regulations come up, if the public is not aware about the source or about the problems, this problem never ends. So we start with the questionnaire for determination of the level of the awareness, and then we train them with many ways, many tools like field studies, awareness activities, meetings, to reach open air exhibition, to produce many printed materials, visual materials, and many things. And we all apply these methods in all countries, in 6 partners in 4 countries, to understand if there are any cultural differences, or if we can finally find a solution for all countries, or we have to find different solution for rising public awareness. So the stakeholders, let's say, dimension is quite high. Children, students, women, fishermen, decision makers, fishermen, fishery, maritime sectors, tourism sectors, and so on, muhtars, religion people. And all type of stakeholders have, we use many different material for making their rising, their awareness up. So we measure with questionnaire their level, and then we start to train them, visit them to explain the situation and how they impact to rise to increase this problem, because if they don't aware about this problem. So we start with the children. We produce a cartoon. Would you please put the cartoon first? Can you hear me?
I don't want to be a litter. I am very old. However, my appearance is not always the same. In fact, you may call me many-faced if you'd like. Millions of years ago, me and my friends opened our eyes to the world you've only seen in the movies. Back then, I was one huge seaweed. But I was so cute. Back then, a lot of things were as big as me, like dinosaurs, giant lizards, trees, mosses, and such. We also had teeny tiny friends who lived with us. After a long and lonely wait, I woke up one day, but I was completely in a different shape. At first, it was hard to get used to, because I was a dense, jelly-like, always flowing form. I really wanted to see myself in the mirror. Before I went to sleep, I was such a strong plant, but now I'm probably stuck way underground waiting to be found in a liquid, weak form. I wonder, who was I? Thankfully, the wait didn't take long. One day, I woke up to an ear-screeching sound. I had no idea what was going on, but I was so scared. I could feel the dark, quiet, and happy time I was beginning to get used to was coming to an end. I didn't have to wait long in this noisy environment, because suddenly I felt I was raising up, almost like erupting to a light that could blind you. And finally, I was on the surface of the earth again. I was so happy. Being back on the surface, breathing, sun, a clean atmosphere. Incredible. As I was battling with joy of being back, I started to realize that I was in a world that I haven't seen before. Everything that lived on Earth has changed. A lot. Then I figured it wasn't only me that changed during the time I was asleep. It was the whole world. But first, I looked at myself. I couldn't believe what I saw. I was pitch black colored, liquid, and sticky. I think I got uglier compared to my old self. I learned that the species that get so excited when they see me and make funny noises were called humans, and that my new name was Petroleum. I was now in a time where my quiet life has ended, and I was constantly being carried around, living in shaky containers for days. I started to wonder if I had an end, and when will this constant traveling will end? But it was very soon that I was going to realize that those were the better days, and the main adventure was going to start later. My long journey has ended in a refinery. A refinery is a magical place. They put me in humongous tanks and started to heat me and my friends up. With every step of this process, I melted slowly and lost some things from myself. Oh, I was changing again. I couldn't even tell you how worried I got. Can you believe that I got heated up till 600 degrees Celsius? And then I realized I was everywhere, shattered into 1,000 pieces. It was a magical, spectacular moment for me. Oh, by the way, I forgot to mention, I became a very valuable, precious thing for humans, leading the way on various technological advances for humankind. I am the one holding the ropes in the world's economy. World shakes if my price goes high or low, and I decide everything. I was so happy. Could you imagine from being a seaweed to being the most valuable thing in the world? The technology that breaks me in pieces uses every piece of me in a different way and transforms them to a brand new product. These products are way too many, from Toothpaste to diapers, cars to furnitures, and I just can't believe what I was capable of. Now, it's been almost 200 years since I first got to the surface of the earth. I started to actually look around. Guess what I saw? Me. I'm absolutely everywhere. But this time I see tons of pieces of me as waste, unused, and just tossed to the side. When I lived underground, I didn't cause any harm to the world, but somehow, in less than 200 years, new me and products being made from me managed to turn the world into a garbage bin. This beautiful earth that I lived for millions of years was getting so dirty because of me. Both on the earth and in the bottoms of the oceans, millions of pieces of me was just laying around. Oh, how much I cried! I wish I just laid where I was not harming anything. Unfortunately, I tend to hurt every living thing that comes near me. Humans were in a dilemma. They didn't know if they should love me or hate me. But my transition was still not over. Recently, I have a new name. I'm called a microplastic. This means I'm so small that you need a microscope to see me. But my effects are huge. When people throw me out, eventually I end up in their bodies after I dissolve in seas, oceans, and drinking waters. I think at this stage, I'm very harmful. I don't know if you know, but the reserves I created underground for millions of years ago are about to run out. I came into this world long before any of you, and it looks like I'll be here long after you're gone as well. But no one ever asked me what I wanted to be. I know I don't want to be a litter. I don't want to be remembered as litter. I don't want to harm the world I call home. And it's up to you to take maximum advantage of me and find technologies to reuse me again. Because many-faced me wants to live in a world where all living beings are happy and healthy.
Okay, after this cartoon, in fact, the children and adults also love and learn many things for this. And then we produced a documentary from the plateau to the sea to show the people how the litter is accumulated and staying on the seaside, just like that in all rivers.
Sorry, Fatma, you
Sorry.
have 3 more minutes.
Oh, okay, sorry. And then we have toys like a smiling face and sad face, because sad face have inside a litter and smiling face have good food. So we produce play cards, we produce litter dispersion model for showing, especially for adults, to how can put, if they put the litter in the seaside and how they move all around the Black Sea. So we make many activities for showing, for demonstrating our production, let's say, to make their public, raising their awareness. So more than 13 meetings we produce all around the Black Sea countries, that our partners countries, 9 workshops, 6 open-air exhibition, and we produced last time open-air exhibition is about more than 700 people is joining our activities. And overall, we reach about 5,000 people with face-to-face and online, and 15,000 people for the website. So with this study, let's say, we have also one international symposium. We learned that in this stakeholder group, the most important stakeholder group for the long term and short term is divided into 2. So short term is decision maker has to take care of their job, their duties. They have to produce, although many legislation, but they have to look after, they have to follow these rules if it is used or not. So the children is for long-term, let's say, investment. So they learn very good, they produce, they also teach the others. So fishermen is important because the fishermen is the most affected stakeholder group because all these land sources come to the sea and then they suffered this litter. In fact, they also produce their own litter. So yes, decision makers is important, let's say, but decision maker has to listen to the public, what they need, what they want. So they have to change their politics. I want to start a little bit quick. And we believe that for the sustainability is come only to public rising awareness. If they change their habitual, then we believe that the sustainability is come up. And we also believe that of course, the recycling is important for the short time, but we need urgently to stop, to diminish the production of the litter. And I said that I hope day by day the number of people who respect their environment get increased. Thank you very much for your patience, and this is our result. Thank you.
Thank you, Fatma, for your presentation. So the next speaker, George Triantafylidis, will introduce the example of HCMR spin-off mines, good practices for sustainable blue economy and marine litter depollution.
Thank you very much. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I am George Triantafylidis. I am a research fellow at the Hellenic Center for Marine Research. I was the project manager of the CLAIM project, and today I will present you the example of HCMR spin-off mines as a good practice for sustainable blue economy and marine litter depollution. I'm very happy to be among you. I want to thank the organizers for the kind invitation. And since we are in the Marine Litter Action Forum of the Black Sea Connect, I don't think I have to try really hard to convince you of how important is the plastic pollution issue, which is a very much global issue. And all the numbers that we have heard these days, yesterday and today, and you can see in this slide as well, make us all feel dizzy. The amounts of plastic that enter into the marine environment are tremendous, and I think that it is time to react and do something about that. But where are the main sources of this marine plastic pollution? How do these plastics enter into the marine environment? It's mainly two sources that these plastics come into the marine environment. It's mainly the rivers, and it's for mainly macroplastics, and it's the wastewater treatment plants. So imagine what is happening in places that there is no wastewater treatment plants. The problem is even more intense. So we must act in the source, and in the CLAIM project and in mines, we have taken a strategic decision that we have to intervene into the sources of this pollution, which is the rivers and the wastewater treatment plants. If we will not intervene there, it will be extremely difficult to get rid of these plastics as soon as they enter into the sea, and it will be also a very expensive exercise. So, how we started our spin-off mines? Everything started from the Horizon 2020 project CLAIM, cleaning litter by developing and applying innovative methods in European seas, which was coordinated by the Hellenic Center of Marine Research. George Triantafylou was the coordinator, I was the project manager, and CLAIM is our real legacy, and I want to thank very much the Commission for the opportunity that gave us to implement these ideas. So, George Triantafylou presented yesterday, among other technologies, the CLAIM technologies, and this slide summarizes the technologies that we produced and also the forecasting tools and methods. So we have interventions and technologies that we can stop plastic pollution in the rivers, and we can make interventions into the wastewater treatment plants. So, in fact, the European Commission prompted us to make this spin-off. Following the advice of our European Commission project officer, Mr. Gonzalo Garcia de Arboleda, muchas gracias, Gonzalo, if you can hear us, and later on, Violeta Kuzmikeite, HCMR, New Naval, and Kiss Intelligence decided to establish a spin-off company in order to better exploit the research results and know-how that we produced in the CLAIM project. So the new company is called Mines, Technologies, and Environmental Sciences, PC. PC is for private company, and Mines stands for Marine Innovation, Depollution, and Services. So the shareholders of this new spin-off are HCMR scientists, it is HCMR itself, the company New Naval, which was also a partner in the CLAIM project, and the spin-off of the University of Crete, Cosmos Intelligence Systems and Services. I have the honor to be the manager of this first spin-off of the Institute of Oceanography of the Hellenic Center for Marine Research. So what do we do in Mines? Mines utilizes, improves, upgrades, evolves, and develops new techniques, methodologies, and solutions related to the protection of aquatic ecosystems from pollution, with emphasis on plastic, and marine litter collection technologies. And we operate in both marine and inland waters. Our mission is to be one of the leading producers and providers of integrated, modular, and greener solutions for sustainable aquatic ecosystems, with emphasis on plastic pollution, collection, and renewable energy sources, to offer expertise in development, production, distribution, and exploitation of litter collection, retention, and filtration products, and new techniques and methodologies with emphasis on plastics. And we want to offer effective solutions for a more sustainable future with minimized footprint, increased well-being, and cleaner seas. But what is a spin-off company? A definition of a spin-off company that I particularly like is the one that you can read here. It's a new company founded by individuals who work as researchers at universities or public research organizations, and which rests on a knowledge-based or innovation-driven business model. So spin-offs from public research organizations can include a wide variety of firm foundations. We have, of course, the most useful way to classify spin-offs is perhaps with respect to the type of the intellectual property of the public research organization that a spin-off is using in its business activities. So there are several types of spin-offs. One is, for example, the intellectual property-based spin-off that also Mines is a category, belongs to this category, and the main purpose is to commercialize intellectual property that has been generated at the public research organization, HCMR in our case, based on an IP contract between the PRO and the spin-off. So PROs may bring in their IP either by taking a share in the company or by selling or licensing out this IP to the spin-off. And IP-based spin-offs include both firms that are entirely owned by the PRO, joint ventures between the PRO and other firms, or individuals and firms founded by researchers from these public research organizations based on an intellectual property contract with the PRO. We also have research-based spin-offs which do not involve an IP contract between the spin-off and the PRO. We have expertise-based spin-offs from researchers that their knowledge will be utilized in this company, and other spin-offs from motivated researchers' desire to work independently. We have student, graduate startups funded startup projects. The last ones could be good ideas for the Black Sea region. What is Mind's unique value proposition that makes us to differentiate from our competitors and existing solutions? We are simply problem solvers. So Mind's overarching goal is to substantially, effectively, and efficiently contribute to the achievement of plastic-free oceans, seas, lakes, and rivers by developing and deploying scalable, transformative, and innovative solutions in all forms, technological, business, social, and governance, for the prevention and minimization of marine and freshwater plastic and litter pollution in the Mediterranean Sea and the whole world. For example, this clean trash system utilizes the combination of active advanced operational systems and time-tested oil spill response, salvage and marine protection equipment. Then we have the waste and water Ecoplex remover, which is a low-cost automating and self-cleaning device for the wastewater treatment plants. This device concentrates the microplastics that we can later on feed a photocatalytic reactor that is using green nanotechnology-based coatings that encourage their polymer degradation. So what do we offer? We offer, first of all, equipment as a product. So we transfer the ownership of this equipment to the customers, or we can offer this equipment as a service to provide collection, storage, and management services, giving access to this equipment, or sponsoring. So we provide sponsored collection, storage, and management service, receiving in return a commercial advantage. Minds also develops and implements mathematical models, machine learning algorithms, and data assimilation methods, and provides integrated solution to ecosystem services. And this is the beauty of these models, because actually we can play with time and make predictions on what will happen if we will apply these technologies to a particular site. What will be the benefit of the environment if we will do actually these investments? And here you can see some examples from Greece. At the bottom, it is the effect of the claim and Minds technologies in wastewater treatment, in the wastewater treatment plants, where we managed to reduce, after 2 years of operation, by 87% the amount of microplastics that exist in the sea. And we have also a reduction of from 13 to 43% of the macroplastics, depending on the source. So we have done also our homework with the booster service of the European Commission, and here you can see our business canvas, our business model canvas. It includes here the key partners, our key activities, the channels, the value propositions, either pure sales or servicization or sponsoring, our cost structure, our key resources and revenue streams, but what each company needs in order to start its business. Its customers, of course, and our customer segments can be seen in this slide and include public authorities, the circular supply chain, business development, and even multinational companies for sponsoring. Municipalities, of course, are a major target in our spin-off, and here you can see on the left the wants, the fears, and the needs of these municipalities if they will take the equipment as a product, or on the right, if the equipment will be as a service, and you can see that the red dots are a lot less in the right, so most municipalities most probably would like to have this equipment as a service. What do we offer in Minds? We offer assistance, first of all. So our commercial team helps customers with an initial diagnosis of the real needs, the usage level, the most adequate location for the installation of the different devices, and then sales. We design the modules and manufacture them, and we transport them, deliver and install them, and eventually we provide services by operating the various devices, by monitoring and gathering real-time data. We offer after-sales services and technical maintenance of the systems, and we assist our customers to get their permits. Very quickly, you can see an example from our competitors. I have here the CleanTrash system and the technologies, the competitors. We also have here in the first column the value attributes, so you can see that we measure the automation of the operation, the autonomy, the remote accessibility, the storage capacity, the cost. So if you will see the performance level, green is the high, red is the low. We believe that our system is a good value for money. So MIND's next milestone is to be cash flow positive. And since our establishment in June of 2021, we managed to get 2 contracts, one from the Lavrio Port Authority for an environmental quality assessment study in the Lavrio Port. And in the beginning of the new year, we will participate in the Nikton. This is the new Copernicus capability for trophic ocean networks. And we will provide some modeling work for the pollutants there. Here you can see our resources and our growth strategy. Here on the left you can see our premises in Greece. We have physical, intellectual, and human resources, of course. And our growth strategy will include further advancement on automations, remote control technologies, green energy resources, easier removal and transfer operations ashore. And we want to further improve all these advancements through raising some capital of 2.6 million in order to get a service vessel to allow us operational efficiency in remote areas and technological advancements in marine litter collection. So, ladies and gentlemen, I think that you are all aware and you share with me the idea that it is about time to combat marine pollution. This is a well-known slide from the ocean cleanup. With the red dots, you can see the 1,000 rivers that are estimated to contribute with 80% of the global annual riverine plastic emissions. And the blue dots are the remaining 20% and are spread over 30,000 rivers. Many of these red and blue dots exist in the Mediterranean, in the Black Sea. So I hope and I wish that the Black Sea Connect coordination and support action will include in its strategic research and innovation agenda support for the spin-offs that can certainly be established in the Black Sea region, and to support entrepreneurs of the blue bioeconomy and boost the need to exploit the research results of the very active scientific community in the Black Sea. Thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you, George. Very interesting presentation.
Thank you.
Our next talk will be on Plastic Pirates Go Europe, a European research area funded pilot citizen science campaign. And I give the floor to Milen Baltov, which will be presenting the focus of plastic pirates in the Black Sea.
Thank you, Irina. Let me start with the compliments to the whole Black Sea Connect community and especially the hosts in the face of Barash, Mustafa, Puner, Ezgi, and if I'm missing somebody. And now I'll tell you the story, but before the story there was a pre-story, and with the pre-story normally Ziggy Gruber was involved. The pre-story was that one day at the start of April there was a straight and short message. The Commissioner Gabriel is coming to Burgas and Varna. Is it possible in a couple of days to identify school at those 2 cities and to perform the demo for the plastic pirates? And that was at the level at which we heard for the first time for the initiative. But okay, that was a good challenge with continuation because that was the pre-story. The story of entering the project was in fact from the end of the month of July. And here you see not only the logo of the Plastic Pirates, but on the left side in Bulgarian language, we used it on the platform of the European Youth Year this year. Now going to the story. The story, in fact, started during the German, Slovenian, and Portuguese chairmanship of the European Council, with the idea that the citizen science project among young people, young meaning the school students, investigating the plastic pollution at the European rivers, oceans, and seas. And to be correct, I will say that before the kickoff in Burgas, that was on the 23rd of September, still the initiative was only concentrated on the river basins. River basins, and there was a training on the River Rhine that happened at the end of August. More or less the idea is the students to go there on the place where there is a running water to collect the probes, and then to use colleagues from the scientific units where in this partnership we are partners with the Institute of Oceanography in Varna, but we are also using the expertise of a colleague who is at the University of St. Zlatarov in Burgas. That is the, let's call it in a software, the scientific part, but more important is the raising of the awareness of the young people there. By collecting the wastes, the idea is these results from the water to be uploaded on a general platform and to have indications on the level of the plastic concentration in different river and sea basins. Up to now, there was some 1,000 data. When I say up to now, that is up to September. Still, we don't have the latest refresh. I was expecting the coordinator, Philip Ackerman, to give it, but maybe they will come down in next days. More important is that we are at the stage of widening this network. The widening started in Bulgaria on September 23, but it went through Italy, that started with the experiments at the beginning of October, and 7 other countries that are now entering this initiative. Yes, these are the countries that are entering the initiative now: Austria, Spain, Italy, Lithuania, Hungary, Belgium, and Greece. Important was that we entered the Black Sea with Bulgaria, and we suppose that Turkey, Romania, and Georgia at least will follow us soon. These are the moments from the visit of the Commissioner Gabriel. She met with the students at the university. And okay, when I say she met, that was just 10 minutes. After this 10 minutes straight, we went on the beach, and not strange enough that there was a good catch, a lot of catch of plastics there. Starting with the sorting of the plastics. Here you can see the children and the commissioner. I mean, the first thing that the commissioner asked was for gloves, so she started herself. Then the experiments continued on there is a short pier that is there on the beach, and from the pier we were throwing the nets. There was also a small invention by our colleagues at the university, because unlike the rivers, when it is on the sea, the nets will just flow away. So they used 2 big bottles of plastic bottles for water for a balance. So the inventions are starting. And of course, that was a very moving moment with the Commissioner Gabriel, and very positive for the children. But it was also a moment to make a push of the new mission, the Restore Our Oceans and Waters by 2030, because more or less this is the way to bridge the mission targets towards the societal involvement and the young people involvement during this European Youth Year. And also the big stress on the digitalization, the green, but also the digital, because the results are going to a platform. And yes, once again, what happened was there was a General Assembly on the 3rd of November, and we, together with our colleagues in Varna, I see them here in the room, we already reported some of the results for this first period. We had already 8 samplings, 4 in Varna and 4 in Burgas, and there were also 5 schools involved up to this moment. Strange enough, 2 of the schools were not supposed to be involved from the very beginning, and it was just like raising hands. We were reactive, and up to now we are quite successful with the kickoff of the initiative. These are some materials that are on the web. The Bulgarian Telegraph Agency, the biggest TV studios, the Darik Radio, which is the biggest national private network, and the national Bulgarian radio also. And you see now, the weather in September was okay, in October so-so, but we are entering November and still we go on, especially our colleagues in Varna. We hope the winter will not come very soon, so we can continue with the probes. And of course, the challenges that are coming, that in fact, we were the first to introduce it to a sea basin. In Germany, Slovenia, and partly in Portugal, up to that moment, the experiment was on river. We were in a search for suitable rivers in the range of 35 kilometers from Burgas, but there were, I will say, there were industrially not important rivers, and we decided that the results will not be representative. So thank you.
Thank you, Milan. Congratulations for your actions, which only prove once more that kids and youth are among the first to react and connect if proper guidance is offered. The Good Practices session continues with an online presentation from Camela Bibes, introducing Erasmus Maris, which shows there is a link, or that could be a link between secondary schools and research institutes. Kamel, the floor is yours.
Good morning. Do you hear me?
Yes.
Hello. Hello. Good morning. Thank you for the invitation. I'm glad to participate to this exciting forum. Before I start, I would like to thank Sigi Gruber, that I know is there, that has put me in contact with the organizers and also provide us a lot of input to develop the initiative that now I want to present. And it's called the Erasmus Maris, and just starts now. The goal of the Erasmus Maris is to establish tangible and lasting relationships between upper secondary schools and scientific research institutions within themes which are related to the preservation of the environment. So there are many themes, and to demonstrate and implement our concepts, we are focusing on microplastic pollution. So it's a good thing that we are just after the presentation that was before, speaking also about plastic pollution. And just I have to go to it. Yes, what you see in this slide, on the left-hand side, I would like to speak a little bit of the partners of this initiative. We have with us the Joint Research Center of the European Commission within a collaboration agreement. We are ourselves a sailing association. We are an NGO. I will explain why also, what we do. And we have with us scientific sectors, the Ghent University to provide us support within the microplastic pollution. And we have a memorandum of understanding with the European Citizen Science Association, because it is a citizen science initiative. So to develop this, we developed this initiative through pilot projects. And we are now conducting the second project called the RAISE-CS. And in a nutshell, to explain what we want to do, we want to answer to the following question. Can secondary schools assess, meaning sample, but also analyze themselves microplastic pollution in rivers and seas? And this project is co-funded by the Erasmus Plus program of the European Union. And it is our second project. We started this in 2018 to develop the concepts, and we are not implementing it. And our aim is to start an implementation EU-wide from 2024 forward. And I said that this concept is about establishing links between science and education within the themes of preservation of environments. And how are we doing that? Creating these links is by creating a framework to facilitate the co-creation of scientific campaigns at EU scales. And there is something important within this concept. There are three core elements, which are transnational collaboration. We want the schools to work together, that there is a cross-communication between the schools, they share the results. We want to have also a mobility with it, and there is also social cohesion. I will explain how these three elements are embedded within the framework. And I said that we are a non-profit organization, sailing organization, and it is a bottom-up initiative. And we use the sailboat here as a motivation factor, of course, for the pupils, but also as a non-formal learning environment. Within a sailboat, the pupils can learn some transversal competences, or call them also soft skills, like leadership, working in a team, and so on. But not only within the boat, they can learn competences which are related to the secondary school curricula. We have on a boat an engine, electricity, electronic mapping, and these real-world environments can be linked to the competence that they have in secondary schools. But now I want to explain this framework. I said that the Erasmus Maris is about creating links between upper secondary schools and scientific research within the preservation of marine environments. And for that, we are creating a framework, and I will explain it. It's a holistic approach within a real-world environment. And it is a citizen science environment, so we are creating also guidelines on how to associate the activities that are conducted by the schools to the curricula. We do that by associating the activities to the key competences for lifelong learning. I will not go through the details because of the time also, but the key competences is a framework, it's a recommendation of the European Parliament to implement it in all the schools as a learning objective. And other part also, we want within the framework, we link it to the education for sustainable development. When we run the activities with the pupils, we want them to understand how they are contributing to the sustainable development goals. This I will not explain now. I want to explain the framework, so the higher picture on how we want to create these links between secondary schools and scientific sectors, so do it to co-creation of knowledge. And the Erasmus Maris, just to see it from above, it consists of three phases. The first, and I will go to these three phases within this presentation. The first phase is about scientists empowering the teachers. We want excellence in education, and we believe that the teachers are the first targets, so this is the first phase. And we did the theme that we have chosen, microplastic pollution. We developed an ad hoc or specific methods for schools so that they can go sample microplastics, but also analyze the samples in their schools, in their chemistry lab. I will explain this one. And for that, we also train the teachers. And this step is led by the Joint Research Center of the European Commission. They are helping us to develop the methods and also developing the training sessions, and also for the upscaling AUI, they are developing a concept called Train Maris to train the trainers, train ambassadors in each countries. I will not speak about that, but I want to focus on the methods. The methods, so the scientists analyze microplastics using complex methods that cannot be implemented in schools because it's complex, the instrumentation is expensive, it can be some safety issues due to the chemicals. So what we did, we simplified the scientific methods, the methods that are used by scientists, so that they can be used safely within a chemistry lab in secondary schools using the common laboratory equipment. And of course, the first question which rises is this method still, the results obtained with this method, is it still reliable? Is it still useful for the scientific community? And here, where the Joint Research Center of the European Commission entered, the JRC, I will say from now on, entered, they are leader worldwide in producing reference materials, and they are developing for us, for the schools, reference materials, microplastic reference materials. And what are reference materials in a simple word? These are samples in which we know the exact quantity of microplastics. So when we give to the schools the reference materials and they use these simplified methods, we know which reliability, what is the precision and the accuracy obtained by the schools, and we can understand if these results are suitable or not to analyze microplastic pollution. And we have very encouraging results from that. And so this is the first phase. And I said also that we train the teachers, and this is done also by the JRC. Here, what you see, the pictures are, it's JRC in Belgium, in Geel, in a village called Geel. And they ask teachers from from surrounding schools to the facility, and we run a test with them, showing them how to use these methods. So I want to explain a little bit this, because we are always asked, are you sure that schools can analyze the samples? So I want to explain this, how we do it. And this is the first phase of the Erasmus Maris initiative. The second phase, so then the teachers are empowered, they know how to assess, to sample, to assess microplastics, and we go there in 3 different steps within this phase. We want the schools to design, they are actually designing and constructing the sampling instruments. So the scientists, when they run projects within microplastics, they ask commercial companies, specialized companies to design or to construct the sampling instruments. In our case, we work with vocational schools to design and construct the throw nets that are used to sample microplastics. And here it's one of the elements that I said before, which is part of the Erasmus Maris. It's a social cohesion. We work with the 2 vocational schools who have within the schools pupils with special needs who have these skills. They work with the metal. They know how to build this manta nets that we call. And after this step, the schools goes with a normal citizen science campaign, which you see normally in all citizen science campaigns with schools. So the scientists design the campaign. He asked the pupils to go to the environments for microplastics or for air pollution, collect the data and send them back to the scientists. So this step is also included within the Erasmus Maris initiative. So the schools go sample microplastics in their nearby environments, but they don't get back the samples to the scientists. They analyze them themselves within their schools. And here it's important. So they analyze the samples together with the pupils, and we know that the results with the pupils cannot be fully reliable. So what we take for the scientific community is the the results obtained by the science teachers. They have a degree in science, they are trained, and so that are the results that are used as a reference. What I said now is the second phase of the Erasmus Maris, and I go now to the third one. Pupils join forces, so it's not finished there. We want the pupils I spoke about the third element within the Erasmus Maris is this cross-collaboration, cross-communication between the schools. In all citizen science projects which are with the schools do not communicate with each other. We want to implement this phase also. So we have what we call Erasmus Maris Week. It's 5 days in which we gather the schools that are working together. They work on sampling the microplastics and analyzing them. We gather them and they share their results. We take them on a sailboat to participate to a sampling campaign on the theme that we have chosen. Now it's microplastics, but as I said, Erasmus Maris is on all the themes related to the preservation of the marine environments, and they discuss also the scientific outcomes with the scientists. This is one step, and the second step is dissemination. We want the school to go to the whole process, really to the whole process with hands-on. And this dissemination is really important. So the scientists that know that without dissemination, there is no scientific projects. For the pupils, of course, they cannot publish in their results, but they can design and conduct awareness campaigns. So instead of having the scientists designing or conducting a campaign for the schools, we ask the schools, for the pupils, to design themselves and conduct advocacy campaigns. And we will have our first campaign with the schools in Valencia in a big event that we will organize in October. They're now working on that. They have 1 year to design this campaign. And by designing it, they learn themselves about the problematic of microplastics. That is one. And for the teachers, that they analyze the results, they share, they work together with the scientists. We want them to work together with the scientists, and they are now working on publishing the results in scientific journals together, of course, with the scientists who have the competence to do that. So this is the Erasmus Maris initiative. We are running tests and demos to demonstrate the concept with a few schools. I think I have photos. Yeah, what you see here is in April. In May this year, we went with pupils from Slovenia, from one school from Slovenia, Poland, Spain, and Belgium, and we took them to Spain for one event, this Erasmus Maris Week. Actually, it was not a week, it was just a test for 1 day, and they went on board the sailboats, and then they went on shore with the scientists from the JRC, from the University of Ghent, and they were acquainted to use the method, which was not validated yet at that moment. But even though we had really encouraging results, promising actually, 80% of recovery of microplastics, which is fantastic. And we will run other tests from here to our project runs until January 2024. But what I want to say is that the concept is developed for all themes which are related to the preservation of marine environments. And what we want to do in 2026, we want to ask the institutions, the European Commission, for instance, to launch a new Erasmus based on the proposed concepts. What we have now from the European institutions, we have the Erasmus Plus program, which is more educational, and we have the flagship program for science, which is Horizon Europe now. The teachers cannot apply to the Horizon Europe, and if they apply like we did to the Erasmus Plus program, it's more about education. So there is this gap that is not filled for the co-creation of knowledge. So we want to ask, we are advocating to, we want to have the European institution to investigate the possibility of extending the scope of the Erasmus Plus program and include the concept that we are developing. And now we are developing it within microplastic pollution. And we will upscale the concepts from 2024 forward. We are now gathering stakeholders from the different sectors, and to discuss and develop together a roadmap. And we will have a high visibility event to promote our concepts and run and provide an action plan to implement this concept EU-wide from 2024 forwards. That was my presentation. Thank you very much.
Thank you for the very interesting presentation. We will now give the floor to Ms. Katrin Kopke from the University College Cork. She coordinates a project called ZeroPol 2030 Horizon Europe.
Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
I'm just going to try and share my slides. I can hear a bit of an echo. I hope that's okay. And I keep it short because I'm really appreciative of this opportunity, because this is a new project, and we really try to connect with the actors and the projects in and around the Black Sea, because we have we want to do some stakeholder engagement, which is really essential for this project. So just very quickly, this is a coordination support action that addresses the Achieving Zero Pollution Seas and Oceans Horizon call. And I'm not going to go through all of these because that would take possibly a bit too much time, but I can share the slides afterwards. We have 10 partners in 8 countries, and we're a mix of universities, NGO networks, and basically the project will be running from September 2022. So we're just started till September 2026. And we also have partners in the Black Sea who I believe are online from the Black Sea NGO network, who will help us to connect to you and to your projects and also with the stakeholders. But I hope that we can possibly, you know, in the after this amazing conferences and learning all about your projects, connect already early on before we want to do our stakeholder engagement. So basically what we're looking at is we saw opportunities that can address pollution in Europe in a more holistic and integrative way, but we also saw a lot of challenges. And stakeholder engagement, we felt there's a clearly defined legal framework, but that's only the starting point. So this is very much at the heart of this project. For example, challenges, we felt like high-level goals like zero pollution, circular economy, they bring us all together to, you know, strive for something, but they're sometimes difficult to operationalize. And we've seen this, you know, where cultural differences were mentioned today in outreach, and maybe things that we need to know to do better. Values and interests are different. We all know this between different stakeholders. There are fragmented government arrangements. There is maybe limited understanding on the government's arrangements that we need to look at, and approaches to stakeholder engagement differ across projects and civil society between governments' arrangements. And we need a new set of stakeholders and how we engage them. So therefore, in this project, we put this at the heart of the project to look at marine pollution in terms of measures and actions, the social and natural science, the marine pollution management objectives, as well as what we want to do, find pathways towards that zero pollution, to the, like, with a roadmap and practical guidance to really operationalize these things. So we aim to deliver a European seas zero pollution framework that places that multi-stakeholder engagement at the heart, and we want to co-develop that zero pollution framework. So we want that framework to be informed by an interdisciplinary pollution problem analysis, formulate future scenarios with our stakeholders, and identify short and long-term measures. So how can we get to that zero pollution? That's very much addressed from so many different angles through all your projects. We obviously had to rein it in a bit. So we have decided through a series of exercises during proposal writing on priority pollutants. Of course, plastic litter at sea is one of them. So very much in line with your project, but also nutrients input, contaminants and bioaccumulation, underwater noise. Now, these ones we're going to look at in a more general across Europe way, in terms of looking for broad and expert stakeholder input. And we would be very grateful if we can also contact you for these ones to really look at gaps, you know, where are we now and where we're saying we should be, to understand the obstacles and barriers, but also the opportunities. And this will form the basis for more detailed analysis in 3 European seas, and the Black Sea is one of them, where we really want to bring our scientists in the project and all the different stakeholders together. And we decided on 2 case studies, and they're both challenging. So one of them is the chemical contaminant PFAS, and the other one very much in line with this. I saw tires in the cartoon earlier. Tire wear particles linking very much to marine litter and microplastics. So what we did is looking at different work packages in terms of looking at data analysis, but also how we're going to engage the stakeholders. So we're looking at documents, surveys, interviews in terms of the 4 groups of pollutants or priorities. And then when we're going down to the case studies, and one of them we want to do in the Black Sea as well, and our colleagues that are developing the methodologies from Wageningen University are also online, listening very carefully in a regional living lab approach, where we're looking at data discovery, first interviews, having integrated assessments, and then going to the living labs. And we want to do this around tire wear particles. So in the end, we can come from both sides and bringing everything together that we're learning through all these different work packages to develop the zero pollution framework with a roadmap and really also detailed guidelines. You know, how can we switch off the tap, for example, on tire wear particles? If you think about it, it's very ambitious. So there's a lot for us to do, and talking to a lot of experts on the different things. These are the work packages. Many of you are familiar because you're all working in European projects. These are the people which we just all came together. So very lucky that it's a post-pandemic start, and that post-pandemic we're still in, but we're all allowed to meet each other, and it was very inspiring meeting all my colleagues in this project. And if you have any questions, please send me an email, and connect with us on Twitter. And there's more information at the moment. We're developing the website, so that's not up yet, but there's more information available currently on my institute's website if you want to know more. But you know, we will just be in contact. And I also like to ask the people that presented today and yesterday if there's a way that we can share the resources, or because it was sometimes hard to follow. I know there's all websites where I can try and find the resources, but some of them mightn't be available yet, to keep us in the loop and keep us informed. Thank you very much.
Thank you. With Catherine's presentation, this session of good practices concludes, and all the speakers presented very, very interesting and insightful ideas on how we could be the solution for the Black Sea. And I believe this is the proof that connected we are stronger and we could be the solution. If there are any questions, please address them. Please, Vangelis.
I have 2 questions, very, very nice presentations, all of them. One is for George, and I want you to tell us in 1 minute, what is your advice for people in the Black Sea, for institutes in the Black Sea that want to create mines? What is the most important thing spin-offs? Which is the most important thing to create a spin-off as an institute, according to your thinking? And then since I have the microphone, I can ask Mr. Lavides, how the Black Sea actors can contribute to the Erasmus Maris, and how this could be done, because we're talking on 2024, a lot of things will be forgotten by then, and how these actors could be engaged from now in the process. Thank you.
May I answer?
Yes.
Thank you, Vangelis, for the question. I think that our friends in the Black Sea should consider how their results should be implemented, and if they believe that they have interesting ideas that appeal to the market, they should dare to make the next step. So the next step is to enter into the private sector, and I think that they need to change a bit their mentality, and because most of the civil servants, most of the researchers are permanent personnel, so they need to change this, the perception that I will have my salary no matter what will happen, no matter if my research will be good or not, no matter if my devices are functional or not. So I think they have to make this critical step in order to pass from the safety of the public sector to something that will allow them to jump into the very hard, it's true, entrepreneurial world. The most important thing is that they have to be prepared for...
Sorry, it's a matter of living. Because if you ask somebody to give up her job...
No, but
it's a matter of
first
living.
of all, I
This is what
don't
mean.
know the
Most
framework,
important
the
thing.
legal framework for the establishment of spin-offs. So, first of all, there must be a proper legal framework that allows and promotes and gives the opportunity to scientists to make such spin-offs. In Greece, recently we had such a legal framework that allows researchers to be also directors and managers of these spin-offs, because some years ago this was not the case. And I think that if they really believe that they have these practical solutions that can be applicable in order to solve this issue on marine litter, they should go for it. And of course, they need to safeguard that they will have some seed capital in the beginning. In our case, it was the CLAIM project. So if they really have a project that produced interesting results, they should further build on that. And this will be appreciated also by the Commission, since the money that has been, it's a public money, so this money, this public money that has been spent on our projects will eventually return something back to the society and will continue to produce meaningful results after our projects are over. I don't know, Vangelis, we can further discuss this out.
May I also, I would like to make a comment or proposal or suggestions in a positive note to Milena. I like this idea of plastics pirates, and maybe we can join forces when it comes to Sarıyer municipality and our host municipality. We're already cooperating with them with more than 3 years. So I believe if we can implement a bit or replicate your project, that I liked it very much, here in our host municipality, but of course we can discuss it further. In any case, I believe that being an intergovernmental organization involving all the member states, the wider Black Sea area, you can use us with our network of stakeholders. You can use us. I'm talking about everybody. I mean, now the idea is not to cooperate with Milen and the plastics pirates, but with everybody. So use us. We are here to support our member states in a way. I mean, use us. I mean, you understand what I mean. Use our network of stakeholders, and there are fantastic ideas that were shared yesterday, today. Let's really join forces and do something for the benefit of our Black Sea. Thank you.
May I?
Okay, just a feedback. Thank you, Rosica. And yes, this is the idea, as I mentioned, raising the awareness, but much more with your readiness. I see the usual quadruple helix, because in the quadruple helix we have also the society, not only the business, not only the governance, not only the academia. But if you allow me, I wanted very much to say it in two sentences, my understanding for the spin-offs. The main idea of spin-off companies is to de-risk, to diminish the risk if there is innovation. And the biggest example for in scale for creating spin-offs is the case study of the IBM. 40 years ago, IBM were producing the big machines. They decided to start producing personal computers. That was very risky for them because if they started and if they were not successful, they could go in bankruptcy. They created 30 spin-off companies. Most of them died. Most of them, 20. 5 of them were very successful. And then the practice from the spin-off company goes back. I explained it as an economist. Sorry if it doesn't match to the usual mainstream understanding. But that was 30 seconds.
So may I express, so thank you very much for your presentation. I represent Georgia, Shota Rustaveli National Science Foundation. So my reference is towards Mr. Balton, as Plastic Pirates it's utmost, at the moment, is utmost of interest for our organization, and because now we are getting to be involved in the project, and we have some schemes, and I would like to express my willingness to get from your side just knowledge, some practical information, and and to enlarge the partnerships, to keep Georgia in your side. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Georgia. Now we shall have the East Coast, the West Coast, Bulgaria, and the East Coast.
Hi, I have a comment for Catherine, actually. I'm Alice Guitar. I'm working at the Athens University of Economic and Business, and I'm a partner in the Bridge Black Sea project. And we have implemented Living Labs at the moment, and it's an ongoing initiative. So I would be very happy to discuss further with you and present what has been achieved so far, what are the main objectives, and see how we can cooperate and and work on this subject together. Thank you.
I have also a question for our Bulgarian speaker about project. You said that one activity was to conduct research on the causes of plastic pollution. I'm wondering what kind of research linked with human behavior, or maybe how local authorities manage the waste. What kind of research?
To be honest, the project is not so ambitious. And also, to be honest, it is not structured as the usual structured project for beneficiaries. In the case we are providing the service in supporting the schools and the children. It is not that ambitious, but it can go on and it can upgrade in the future.
Irina, Kamal, one of our speakers, was raising his hand, so maybe we can go back to him. Over to you, Kamal. We cannot hear you now. Is it because of us? Duyamıyoruz ama. You look. Yes, now we can hear you. Yes, we hear you now.
Yes, I can go on. Yes.
Please.
I want to answer the question. There was a question on the participation of the countries from the Black Sea, and I said before that we are very interested, of course. We will implement the concept EU-wide, and we want to start the first implementation from 2024, and we are building a roadmap. And I said before that we are contacting different stakeholders who are to show them our roadmap, also to join forces. And We are, I am saying, we are an organization, and we are developing this roadmap together with the Joint Research Center of the European Commission and the European Citizen Science Association. So I would suggest probably that a step that we could have is a bilateral meeting with these two partners, the JRC and EXA, and probably responsibles or representatives from your forum, and we can share about how we can go further. And of course, that's probably the main practical step that I would suggest to do. So if we can have a contact together and organize, I will speak of course with the JRC, with EXA, and organize a meeting to see how the countries of the Black Seas, or probably through your forum, how the schools can be involved.
Questions? No? Oh, there is one more.
Maybe the final question?
Yes.
Yeah. Thank you for your nice presentation and instructive presentations also. My question is to Mr. George. You know, operating a wastewater treatment plant is costly, and I wonder the financial and non-financial benefits provided by MINDS technologies. Is there any legal obligation for microplastic treatment? And why does the especially municipalities bear or provide or supply this cost? This is my question. Thank you.
Unfortunately, all over Europe, there are no limits for the microplastics that are emitted from the wastewater treatment plants. This is very unfortunate. And in the CLAIM project, we also provided some advice to the Commission and the European Parliament to start thinking how to change it. I think there is a new directive that might incorporate these limits into this because it is a real problem. In fact, currently, wastewater treatment plants operate based only on the COD and BOD emissions, but nobody cares about how many microplastics per cubic meter they emit. This is indeed a shortcoming, not only in Europe, but all over the world, I believe. And Europe, as pioneer, must really be more proactive and set some limits. What I would like also to state is that indeed wastewater treatment plants are emitting, depending on how well they function, they might retain 65 to 99% of the microplastics, but the remaining are entering into the marine environment, and we're talking here for large volumes. So in fact, if we really want to improve the state of the environment, we should further invest in wastewater treatment plants, because if you have seen what we have developed in the CLAIM project, we need secondary or tertiary treatment in order to apply that. Otherwise, the devices are, you get mud, everything is stuck, it's not working. But all over the Mediterranean, and perhaps in many places in the Black Sea, there are not even primary wastewater treatment plants. So things are not so simple. We need investments, we need money. And of course, what our technologies can only be applicable in secondary and tertiary wastewater treatment plants. So above all, we really have to make some serious investments in wastewater treatment plants in order to be able to retain microplastics, apart, of course, from all the other initiatives that we have to take in order to stop using all these personal care products that they contain microplastics and so on. But every time we wash our clothes, and they are made of plastic, fibers enter into the sewage, they end up somewhere in a wastewater treatment plant. If they work properly, they will be retained. If not, they will enter into the marine environment, contributing to the huge increase of microplastics in our seas. I hope I gave you a small glimpse of what we need to do in the future.
And thank you all for being here. And this is the end of the good practices session. It was a very good session. And I now give the floor for the next session of the Marine Leader event. Thank you.
Thank you.
Maybe I can start talking while the stage is being prepared. I think you can hear me well. So, hi everyone, this is Mustafa Yücel from Black Sea Connect team. And in this, so now we are approaching to the final phase of our event of this Marine Litter Joint Action Forum. Thank you for all the contributions, for all the speeches so far. And in this roundtable panel, we will be looking at the issue from the point of view of countries. We will learn about national level contributions and plans towards zero plastic and healthy seas. So actually, while I speak, I would like to also invite our panelists here in person. We have 3 in-person panelists and 1 virtual panelist. They are actually the 4 panelists you will hear today. They are the members of the operation network of funders of the Black Sea Connect, and they are supporting us in the process of the Syria implementation plan. And in this regard, I'm very pleased to introduce you these members. So Ms. Tea Tarielashvili, she's from the Department of Higher Education and Science, Georgia, and we welcome her once again. She's already at the stage. Mr. Sviatoslav Postoronka from Moldova. He's the representative of the Moldovan Office for Science and Technology. And I would like to re-invite Professor Milan Baltov once again with his other hat of as the member of the Funders Network. Actually, he will play this role with a newly appointed member from Bulgaria as well. Thank you, Milan, for really making it here today from Burgas. Milan Baltov is the rector of the Burgas Free University. In the program, it still says vice rector, but we also congratulate him in this appointment. And online, we have Ms. Melike Ergun from Turkish Scientific and Technological Research Council, TÜBİTAK. She is the program coordinator in the International Cooperation Department, and she's one of the TÜBİTAK, actually, representatives that has been working with us since the inception of the Syria. So we do have actually 4 representatives from Black Sea countries. We are still in the process of obtaining nominations for Ukraine especially. They are just actually completing their nominations. So what I would like to do is, after we complete 2 rounds of discussion with our panelists, I will be giving the floor to Victor Komorin as well, who is online, just to get their national viewpoint. And our Romanian, actually, representative, Viorel Vulturescu, is occupied with other tasks. He's not able to contribute today, but we are, of course, getting Romanian contribution to the implementation plan. And but still in the Q&A session after the second round, we would like to hear from the audience, our online and physical participants, about the national actions in Romania as well. So the way this panel will be structured, it will be structured around 2 rounds of input from our 4 panelists in the frame of 2 questions. And maybe I can start with my first question. Basically, the first round will be about the view from countries about the current state of the marine litter issue, current regulations, how it's affecting them. And the second round will be about looking towards the future, towards solutions. And in third round, as I've just explained, it will be more interactive, hopefully, hearing also from Ukraine and Romania and other countries, others from you, as you are also representing different aspects of national efforts, all of you. So in that regard, let me put forward the first question and let's get started. So from the point of view of your national initiatives, regulations and experiences, how is the marine litter issue currently affecting your communities, your businesses, and your efforts for making Black Sea healthier? So you can actually respond from your location. No need to come to the podium. I will be more standing during this session. But if the panelists allow me, I would like to start with Thea. She's the current co-chair of the Operation Network of Funders. And after her, I would like to go counterclockwise. That's the direction of the rim current of the Black Sea. So we can go to Moldova, Bulgaria, and Turkey. So, Thea, please, the floor is yours.
Yeah, thank you very much. I'll try to keep it short and just in a couple of words to say about this question. So actually the pollution of marine environment is the main challenges that its effects on the ecosystem of the region and the well-being of the region. And Georgia is a maritime country and it's all the issue which concerns to the pollution of sea and coastal area affects significantly on the well-being and health of the population. And the coastline of the country is quite a busy area with tourism and trade activities, and any coastal pollutions significantly affects the activities of this sector. As of scientific point of view, our Georgian scientists within these different projects took actions to conduct the field-based assessment of marine litters, and it was based on a European methodology, and detailed visual observation of the coastal zones were done, and areas were identified where the most of the pollutions were observed, and it was revealed several hot spots in the coastal zones as well. And one of the sources of the solid waste is the landfills in the environment, and there are very many spontaneous landfills in these coastal areas in many large and small settlements found. And this problem is complex, and it relates to waste management overall, and as well as the public awareness according to the research. And all of these results was maintained and formed in a way of database, and interactive map was done on the litter distribution. And various expedition was also done on this field on searching of this marine litter. And nowadays we expect that the National Environmental Agency will be provided with the specific equipments needed to continue the research on this marine litter. Based on these findings, various scientific papers were issued, published in the journals, as well as different trainings and seminars were done for the young generation to raise the awareness on this issue. We understand that it's important, the accessibility of information concerning this marine litter and the waste overall, and raise the awareness of wider public and to reduce the pollution in the region. For example, the Batumi, which is quite busy touristic destination in the Achara region, and the Batumi Boulevard is actively involved in environmental events and various projects. And to raise awareness, a number of educational events were organized by this boulevard. It became a member of the Foundation for Environmental Education with various environmental projects. Batumi Boulevard regularly cooperates with different non-governmental organizations that work in the direction of ecology as well. And a special installation for the wide public was done and was placed in the boulevard to direct it against the pollutions. And from the sea-hold waste. I also will mention that wide-scale event which was organized this summer. Our Ministry of Education, Science and Education organized 2-day events which was focused on awareness raising concerning the research on Black Sea. And it took scientific conferences, exhibitions representing various projects concerning the Black Sea, and also the pollutions which we face to the Black Sea. And whereas workshops for the school children were done in preventing and educating, let's say, children concerning this issue. And also my colleague of mine mentioned that we are interested in participating in these plastic pirate activities, and right now we are working, my colleague from the National Science Foundation is working on it. So we all understand that this is the serious problem for all the countries, and raising awareness, it's important as well. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Thea. Yeah, definitely at the moment Georgia is quite active on different fronts, so thank you also for sharing your plans about how to get further involved. So as you know, as a main, I think, theme of our discussions is cutting pollution at source and importance of rivers, river inputs. So although Moldova has no direct coast to the Black Sea, it's still very closely connected to rivers. So in that regard, now we would like to hear views from Sviatoslav. So please.
Thank you, Mr. Yusuf. And I'd like to express much gratitude also to steering committee for inviting me and giving all kind of support to attend this very important event. And I'd like to mention that I am not alone in this room. From Moldova, I am honored to present you Ms. Elena Zubko, correspondent member of the Academy of Science of Moldova, Ms. Laurentia Ungureanu, professor, director of the Institute of Zoology, in Chisinau, Ms. Lucia Beletsky, PhD, scientific secretary, very active, putting very pragmatic questions during the sessions, and last but not least, Ms. Elena Kuligin, very proactive citizen and promising young researcher. All of them are scholars of high performance in our country, who brought a valuable contribution for the development of topics relating to aquaculture, preservation of biodiversity, many services dedicated to the impact of climate change, and of the anthropological activity to the environment. It is very important to note that some of mentioned persons began to be partners in cross-border R&I projects many years ago, before the 2000, when our country was not associated to European programs. And many of you know about it better than me. These are their achievements, but how can to connect and bring them into practice? Let me say a couple of words concerning water issues in our country. In state policy documents, they say we have 12 cubic kilometers of water, including inland and of borders rivers Prut and Dniester, and about 9.8 cubic kilometers belong to Dniester. Scientific assessment has identified that 80% of fauna disappeared there. Researchers have discovered in Dniester every kind of pollutants. You can just imagine plastic, chemicals, pesticides, suspensions, and waste from settlements, industry, and agriculture sectors, objective from both banks of the river, including impact of the Novodnestrovsk and Dubosari hydropower plants. From Dniester, we take water to supply our citizens, also for irrigation, and after that, contaminants reach our crops and animals, as a result affecting our food as well. Now, all of us are speaking across Europe about the synergy between science, decision-making process, civil society, and business. We are implementing a concept of smart specialization with his quadruple helix. The above described situation is a classical example where we must stay aligned and have to invest cohesion and be aligned in our activities. Regarding the role of the National Agency for Research and Development I represent, I have to say that it offers funding for research and innovation projects on the basis of the calls launched for 2020-2024 in the frame of our local state program for an R&I and approved by government decision number 381 from 2019. In the content of which, between 5 main priorities, the third is environment and climate change. Includes dedicated directions like waste, mineral plastics and pollutants, environment security and conservation of biodiversity. Also, our agency is a member of joint program initiatives, as I say, GPIs, in the field like oceans, antimicrobial resistance, and on this basis we take part in the launched calls for ERNETCO fund actions, like Waters for All, Biodiv Restore, Biodiversa, Biodiversa Plus, and BiodivMon. Also, our activity is not limited just to announce calls and funding projects and monitoring them. The agency, having the status of central authority, takes part in the meetings of the Economic Council of the Prime Minister, many working groups and body of experts of the government, and in this is enforced to insist on scientifically argued positions. As an example of other state main policy documents, I'd like to mention the government decision for approval of the Strategy Moldova 2030, where it stipulates that the water security of the country is one of the major concerns, and there is proposed a dedicated general goal, number 10, for assuring a healthy and secure environment. Deep political reforms occurred in the last 2 years in our country. Was elected a new president, new parliament, and nominated new government, which approved on August last year the program for activities for 2 years, where we find dedicated statement with the context to develop a frame of associated trio between Moldova, Ukraine, and Georgia in order to promote a strategic partnership in the shape of public dialogue of all levels and for all sectors, energy, security, science, culture, and to assure protection for Dniester ecosystem in relation to Ukraine. We had a strategy related to biological diversity for the period 2015-2020, and hope our authorities will develop a new legal frame in this view. Here we are another example from the political life in our country. Recently, in the beginning of this month, in Chisinau took place a congress for the creation of new political party, the Coalition of Unity and Welfare, a political formation of liberal sense. Regarding reading news, I have seen in their program related to neighbor country Ukraine, between many other important goals, the deepening of economic and trade relationships, including the management of aqua resources on the River Dniester from the perspective of mutual national interest. So, at the end of my brief intervention, I have to conclude that in actual conditions created by Russian aggression, it seems our two neighbor countries, Moldova and Ukraine, became a political partners as never have been. Like in Ukraine, in Moldova are taking place confrontation as well. Not military, but affecting energy sector, making the price of natural gas sometimes be higher in the cost comparing average per Europe. Also occurred several cyber attacks. Hacking the Telegram accounts of the Minister of Justice, Chief of General Police Inspectorate, and security counselor of the Miss President. This is information of public from mass media. After the end of the war, we have to build and develop multilateral common agendas aiming to recover economy, infrastructure, education, R&I, and adopt the vital required quality of water for citizens and the environment of Black Sea region and at all. All these sectors are of crucial importance, and the core issue here is to find a more optimal solution for everyone and everything, where we will be engaged our Academy of Science, Ministry of Education and Research, and of course our National Agency for Research and Development, other authorities and entities from business, NGO, and civil society forum. Now we live times when consulting of scholars should make political leadership to be more dedicated and determined. In this sense, the development of their governmental dialogue will require all valuable deliverables and outcomes offered by the research community during implementation of projects, putting added value for our countries and the region and the European continent in general. That was an official statement on behalf of the Agency of National Research and Development. I hope aligned with the opinion of our scientists presenting in this room, and my opinion, personal as a public servant, and also as a specialist in power engineering and energy. My topic of research in PhD is microgrid, smart microgrid and energy microgrid. And I realized many years ago that there is no delimitation between energy or all kind of project of infrastructure and the environment. And please have my commitment that in each cases and each opportunities where will be required my advice and will permit my skills and expertise, I will opt for projects, for objective projects in energy and in infrastructure in general, to have an approval of environment centers, the assessment of impact, in order to permit bank investment. Thank you very much. Let's to be active like our forum, and because the quality of water, it means the quality of our lives, at least. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Sviatoslav. Really nice viewpoint from your country, and I'm sure in the second round you will further have a chance to elaborate on some solutions, because it seems like you have this unique viewpoint from an energy expert viewpoint as well. So thank you. But I especially liked your national priority of water as also seems like you look at the issue as an integrated issue: water security, energy, culture. I especially like this, like the way you actually put healthy waters and seas in this context. So thanks again. And now I would like to turn to Professor Baltov. We've been also walking with him for a long time in this road, and now we are in the phase of implementation plan. So we are curious about the Bulgarian point of view. Milan, thank you.
Thank you, Mustafa. In fact, when I was looking at the map of the most polluted places in the sea basins, the good news were that 80% of them were not concentrated around Europe. And out of the 20%, yes, it was mentioned that Black Sea is there with several dots. But again, the good news were that I saw them on the north part, close to the river Volga and probably the river Dnieper, and it was dotless on the shore of Romania and Bulgaria. This is the general good news, but it doesn't mean that there is no pollution. Just the dots are not so yellow or so red as they were. It means that it is not so concentrated. The other good news is that, in fact, close to the shore in Bulgaria, we have the biggest oil refinery on the Balkan Peninsula that is standing maybe less than 10 kilometers from the shore close to Burgas. But due to a huge investment that was performed 11 years ago, it is really not polluting on the inside the water. There is a lot of speculation. Normally people going on the beach in Burgas are asking why the sand is not white. Well, the sand is not white because the structure of the soil is different. It is a little bit darkish. In the very past, there was, 60 years ago, there was also a production of copper and other kind of ores that is close to the city. So this is the reason. Once again, I'm not making the Bulgarian shore spotless. Unfortunately, there are much more pollutants, and the pollutants are, I'm coming in fact from a discussion that we had last Friday, 5 days ago at the university. There was a meeting with the Economic and Social Council of Bulgaria, and the topic was the circular economy and the blue economy. And in fact, there were data released that now the biggest pollutant to the beaches and to the shore areas are related with the intensive expansion of the tourism. Tourism was there for maybe for 100 years, but for the last 20 years, it expanded in capacity of the beds and the hotels. At some places, it expanded with 5 times or 10 times. And in many cases, the water sewage to those places is not used very effectively. I will say it in other words. They are not putting all the pipes into, which is ugly picture, but this is the reality. What might be some of the steps? In fact, a couple of years ago, the municipality of Burgas started an initiative called Blue Label. That is, and with the Blue Label, they label some of the beach restaurants and bars that are not using plastic when serving the clients. But of course, as Armstrong had mentioned, stepping on the moon is just a small step, not a leap in his case. Yes, and once again, I must say that at this meeting last Friday, both the previous Minister of Environment and Water, Evelina Vasilieva, was there. You might well remember her from the European Maritime Day in 2018 in Burgas. At that time, she was chairing the Environment and Waters Commission at the National Assembly. But once again, yes, she was proud enough to say that the biggest trouble that were the industrial pollutants are limited. And now, because once again, the quadruple helix was mentioned, now it's a real moment that the communities, but not communities as an abstract meaning, but the communities also as business communities and as small municipal councils, that they put the pressure over the operators in the tourism to limit and to follow the good practices. Because once again, there is a good sewage system for the wastewater, but in many cases it is disregarded, and in many cases even some of the local people that are renting houses or having small hotels, they are thinking in a way that, yes, we don't care too much, it's good to have good profits in the tourism. Are you a challenge, and are you a way to go in those two areas of the business and the society from the quadruple helix? Thank you. And why not making a quintuple helix with the environment, the fifth element?
Definitely agree. Thank you, Milan. Really very valid points. I like especially your emphasis on the local and community level and the experiences you are facing at that level now. Yeah, we will be facing this dilemma for Georgia also. Thea emphasized the importance of tourism, but how this issue of litter and this uncontrolled inputs are directly threatening this promising sector in the Black Sea. That's, I think, I'm also trying to extract lessons for our implementation plan that looks like something we need to maybe bring science or different methodologies to address. So thank you, Milan. In the second round, we will be looking forward to hearing some solution ideas.
I have heard Tbilisi became the party resort of Europe now, the party city. So be careful, I just shared the lessons from Bulgaria. It might be polluting.
Now let's turn to Turkey's viewpoint. So I would like to invite Ms. Melike Ergun from TÜBİTAK to respond to the first issue of what's the state of the marine litter issue in Turkey. How is Turkey experiencing the issue? Please, Melike, the floor is yours.
Good afternoon to each participant in this important forum. I'll be glad to be physically there, but sorry for this. I need to be at home. In terms of TÜBİTAK, I'm sorry, I'm with my son and I need to...
That's fine, don't worry, yeah.
I'll be dealing with this question not in terms of examples, but I would like to give you a holistic approach of TÜBİTAK, especially the ministerials in Turkey. How do we look at the issue and what is the point of view? What is the point of view of the governmental organizations? First of all,
can I put a water?
No, thank you. I'm afraid that one of the microphones is not off.
Please continue, Melike.
Operational network of funders is very important for our organization because we are very delightful to see the results of the Black Sea Strategic Research and Innovation Agenda and how we will start funding and how we will start with bilateral and multilateral cooperation under this umbrella. First, I would like to emphasize the importance of this group and this initiative of METÜ under the Black Sea Connect project. The view of marine litter in our country is part of a holistic climate change and biodiversity conservation efforts, especially the possible effects of marine litter to biodiversity loss and reduction in overall ecosystem function should be considered in this holistic view. This is our view to marine litter and also, of course, blue economy. Thus, we encourage the adoption of co-creation models on research and innovation in the protection, conservation, restoration, and sustainable use of biodiversity, in which marine biodiversity is an important part for our country, especially. As all of us know, Turkey has a long coast in Black Sea. We have important economic gain from aquaculture, from fisheries and tourism from Black Sea. And this is also very important for us the continuation of the biodiversity, the continuation of the species in the Black Sea is also very important in economic terms for Turkey. We would like to also acknowledge that research and innovation cooperation across scientific disciplines by co-creating solutions with different stakeholders from diverse backgrounds and expertise, especially in times of this addressing complex, dynamic, and ever-changing challenges have gained the utmost importance in these days. This means that, for instance, for TÜBİTAK, the main funding agency in Turkey of research and innovation efforts, we believe that academia, business sectors, public sector representatives should work together to overcome problems such as marine litter and especially microplastics. I would like to give you an example of how we looked at the issue. For instance, in the recent terms, there was a mucilage problem in Turkey, in Marmara Sea, and many of the governmental organizations come together and make a council on this, and we opened the call in a short time, and there are a lot of projects have been funded under this call. So I mean that we try to, as TÜBİTAK, we try to find a solution which can be solved by means of research and innovation efforts. We quickly try to get together with different organizations, with different ministries, governmental bodies, universities, public sector, private sector together, and try to find a solution together and try to find a solution quickly. So, which is one of the latest issues that we dealt with in the recent times. Also, I would like to give an example. As TÜBİTAK, we are trying to find a solution together, but also in our research center, Marmara Research Center, we have a group of researchers also working to find solutions, try to find solutions themselves. For instance, we have now different projects working on the abundance effects, physical characterization of plastic pollution in both sea and surface waters. That's another issue. Surface water is also very important in terms of marine litter and microplastics. So our research center is trying to work on surface water detection of microplastics in surface waters and proposal of control methods project, which is a national project now, and they are gathering a lot of good results from this project. There is also another example of recent years, which is the Zero Waste project led by the Environmental and Climate Change Ministry of Turkey. Marine litter provincial action plans are also being prepared for more than nearly 30 cities in Turkey, and there are works under these action plans. I will give some detailed information about our solution mechanisms, our suggestions for solutions in the second part of this discussion. But nowadays, there are also some works under TÜBİTAK Climate Council and other different organs of TÜBİTAK. It is seen that there should be a holistic approach also in the marine litter and marine blue economy issues. And it is very important that geographical information systems and remote sensing systems are also important in this issue to see the picture as a whole and to be able to get ready for possible problems and to find solutions for those problems. So I will give you some also examples about what we suggest for solution, what we suggest for actions in the second part. But now the scenario in Turkey seems to be nearer to finding solutions before they are being a big problem. So try to make a controlling system, try to make a sensing system for the seas also is an important issue in our action plans and in our works done with the participation of different stakeholders in this area. Thank you for the thing, and I will also try to make a clear explanation of our suggestion methods in the second part.
Thank you so much for highlighting this integrated approach of TÜBİTAK. So actually you have already set the stage nicely, Melike, for the second round. You have already given good examples of some specific projects towards solution. Of course, the mucilage experience that we have gone through a little bit accelerated maybe this sort of development of integrated approaches, but in the end some interesting approaches are coming out. I'm looking forward to hear about them in the second round. In the second round, though, we will need to a little bit speed up our contributions. We are approaching to the final minutes of our event. Some of us will be hitting the road, I assume, so we don't want to take too much of their time. But very briefly, I would like to propose my second question. So, yeah, what are your country's specific solution needs? So looking into the future, what will be some priority solution formulas you will be looking for? What are your needs? And is there anything that you are developing at the moment that we should be aware of, which can be shared with other countries? So again, we can follow this same sequence. So Thea, please. Thank you. Thank you.
Possible. Management of the waste is a challenge for Georgia as well, and we realize that most of the marine pollutions come out of these landfills and different points as well. And during the last years, number of beneficial measures have been implemented in Georgia to improve the waste management process overall. And right now there's an acting legislative basis on the waste management, which is important to managing all of this process, to have the proper legislative base. And the Waste Management Code, as well as other nominative acts, like National Waste Management Strategy of Georgia for 2030 works, and as well as acting harbor regulations approved by Maritime Transport Agency, deal with waste management issued by marine vehicles, and so on. And that's consequently several steps which was done by introducing this legislative basis, improved the situation with waste management of the country. This Waste Management Code entered into force in 2015, and before the adoption of this law, issues related to the waste management were partially regulated by number of sectoral legislative acts, or some extent by international conventions as well. And to adopt this code is based on the requirements of the association agreement as well. But still a number of bylaws is necessary to introduce as well and implement them. And all of these provisions of this code requirements of the conventions and so on important to properly manage the waste processes, but still some levels of efforts are necessary. For example, despite the requirements by legislation, illegal landfills are still operating, littering the protected areas, touristic complexes, as well as other areas. Companies not fully comply with the existing legal requirement, and so on. And there's still a few landfills which meets international standards. Almost all rural settlements have one or more small landfills, and In most cases, they are located on the banks of the river and causing the threats to the human health and the environment as well. And there's still many spontaneous landfills in Georgia, so this process needs to be improved as well. Code established the obligation of municipalities to develop municipal waste management plan, and also companies are required to develop company waste management plan and designate a company environmental manager. Significant success was done by direction of introduction of the extended obligation of the producer as well. As a development of the economy, as we are discussing the plastic problem and marine plastics, the problem of plastic waste is increases in Georgia as well. And important is to make effective steps in this direction to minimize this waste as well as cope with already existed waste. From 2019, only biodegradable and compostable bags are allowed in Georgia, as an example. There are about 100 waste proceeding enterprises in the country, but often their technologies not really meet modern environment and requirements. And about the plastic, it's more than 10 companies operating with the field in plastic recycling. Yesterday you meet one of the companies and success story which uses the recycled plastic. We had other different companies which use the old car tires recycling for producing treadmill rubbers, or eco companies producing packaging out of the plastic waste, and so on. But still, this process should be improved and increased in the capacity as well. So there's still challenges remain, like lack of waste management plans for most companies, or capacity and experience of municipalities, small towns and rural settlement waste collection facilities are outdated, and proper separation and the waste management in the many areas are still observed, and so on. And to improve the waste management system is necessary to strengthen the capacities of public and private sector, as well as municipalities as well. And they should take the responsibility for municipal waste management and to manage a joint municipal waste system, to introduce and manage all of the system as well. For example, but some steps are still undertaken, and new modern polygons were constructed as well. For example, in agreement with EBRD, new standards in Batumi of new landfills will be constructed as well in the Kobuleti. There is a need to strengthen the capacity of private sector, as I already mentioned, and awareness rising in the general public. We should see how the behavior of the people is changing toward the waste management and the overall marine litter as well.
Thank you, Thea. Really comprehensive set of solutions. But as I understand, management of waste is an urgent need, well, at least new approaches for this you will need, and you are already actually in the process of developing a new legislation, so that's great news. So yeah, without further ado, I would like to turn to Sviatoslav once again to hear about his ideas looking into the future.
It's open? Thank you, Mustafa.
No, it's okay.
I will try to be shorter than my Georgian colleague, because we have many similar problems, many similar challenges, and I will try to relate only on our national specific, because we are a small country, one of the smallest countries in Europe. And I'd like to mention again that scientific results provided by our national science community are so good and so valuable, and even they are really enthusiasts, taking into account our funding for research and innovation of 0.24% from GDP. And we have many results, many consultation and advice conclusions addressed to our authorities, remain for our authorities to be more open and to more receptive. And another main challenge for our country is not legal frame, because we have so good developed strategies, action plans, and regulation. But I suppose the main challenge is hidden in the implementation, because we need to have better acceptance and better abilities from our local second level state authorities in regions to be able to attract funds for the implementation related infrastructure. Let's imagine the level of our very weak industry we have, just only servers where we have used tires and the user used the oil from car engines, and our agriculture. We need to use more rational our materials in cultivating crops. Also, the waste management. I think our authorities must be more aware from the voice of our civil society forum, because we also organize very often different kind of conferences and symposiums. We are very active citizens, enthusiasts, and in this sense, I mentioned about quadruple helix. Yeah. It's very important, and not enough we implement this concept. We speak more about it, but we have to bring together, because apart from one side, let be researcher authorities or society, it will be impossible to solve this problem. We need to have a cohesion between our all stakeholders, all parts of our society, and think aligned, act aligned, and I suppose it's all from my side.
Thank you. That's great, really. And again, of course, solution needs are very evident also in your side for managing the waste at local level, at least according to what I extracted from you. But I'm sure as we also develop the implementation plan with you, new opportunities also will be found out. So, yeah, without waiting, I would like to turn to Milan once again to hear some ideas for the near future.
I'll try to be really short. Definitely, these are the policies and the resources spent on the general policy for the waste management, and definitely these are the policies and the resources oriented towards the fish and the fishery in the Black Sea. By the way, this year is fantastic for the fish flow. And it is at least 30% more, and still the big fish, it just started migrating from Black Sea. Normally it is already in Marmaris or in the Bosphorus, very, very close. But I will put the lines over the news. The news, besides the small steps that I mentioned, I mean, a direction for a big step is the introduction, and it is ready, of the new innovation strategy for smart specialization. I had mentioned on the regional seminar in Brussels on 30th of October. In this new strategy, innovation strategy for smart specialization, besides the 4 existing thematic fields, we have introduction of the 5th field, which is horizontal, and which is called circular economy. And as I mentioned, with the word count, the circular economy in the document, you can meet it 54 times, which is a good light and a good way to go on and to step on. Much more resources to the circular economy and much more legislation in this area.
Thank you, Milan. I think the issue of smart specialization and development of strategies, I think that's something we need to also consider in the implementation plan, how to better link to regional smart specialization strategies. And thank you for highlighting that. And thank you also again for reiterating the need for policies in waste management or new research for that. So yeah, we can now turn to once again to TÜBİTAK, to Ms. Melike Ergun for her responses to the second question. Please, Melike.
I will try to be short, and I totally agree that Milan's intervention about smart specialization for the region itself. And I would like to just summarize that for the last 5 years, at least 5 years, we are trying in Turkey. We are trying to make a holistic approach for climate and biodiversity research. And now in the beginning of 2022, we organized the Climate Council of Turkey, in which marine and inland aquatic ecosystems and the blue economy was one of the 6 thematic focuses of the council. Many stakeholders came together in the council, and TÜBİTAK also produced a lot of priority thematic areas for our national calls after this climate council, and in which, as I mentioned in the first part, the geographical systems and holistic approach was one of the outputs of this council. But we would like to mention that this is not enough. For instance, we are also part of the UN Convention on Biological Diversity, and in which marine pollution is one of also priorities of this biological convention. We will also hold the term presidency of the convention for the next 2 years. And we will host the 16th conference of the parties of the UN Convention on Biological Diversity. Now, Turkey has been gathering a new National Biodiversity Council consisting of almost all national players in Turkey. And marine and coastal biodiversity will be one of the target points of this council, and there will be a working group on this subject. We are doing this in national level, but we believe that especially in marine research and marine litter and microplastics research, it is very important to act as a whole, as a region, not only national effort. Thus, I mentioned in the beginning of my intervention, we believe that this operational network of funders is very important for the Black Sea, because Black Sea is a very closed sea. It is very important to work together for all Black Sea countries, and national efforts will be only a starting point of these efforts. But working together, working all together, working under an umbrella for this for marine litter is very important. When we talk about rivers and other factors, other actors of the marine litter research, it is very important to work as a whole, as a region, and all together. So we believe the importance of this network of funders. We believe the efforts of the Black Sea Connect project, under Black Sea Connect project, and other projects to work as a group, not only at the national level. Thank you for the floor, and thank you for the organization. It will be very interesting to follow the efforts of METÜ team and also Black Sea Connect team on this issue. Thank you.
Thanks a lot, Melike. We will keep you there a little bit longer. We are a little bit late, but I would like to still receive a few questions or comments for our country representatives here. While you are thinking of your contribution, I would like to briefly turn to Viktor Komorin from Ukraine. He's director of the Ukrainian Center for the Ecology of the Seas. And just also, we can hear a brief contribution from him. Of course, we know the situation in Ukraine, but first, good to see you, Viktor, although online. And yeah, the floor is yours. Please, please share your thoughts or your recent, if any, developments regarding marine litter issue. Thank you.
Thank you, Mustafa. Good afternoon, everybody. Let me remind you words from SRIA, what was developed a few years ago, first version. The Black Sea is unique sea basin that is rich in biodiversity, heritage, and nature resources. The basin is increasingly under pressure due mainly increasing impacts from human-induced factors such as eutrophication and hypoxia, overfishing and introduction of alien species, and additional effects of climate change. For now, we can add one more pressure, the war. The diversity of the marine litter enriched by bombs, rockets, mines, planes, and vessels. You know that Ukrainian people fighting against the military aggression of the Russian Federation. And only thanks to Ukrainians armed forces, I have opportunities to speak to you. And for now, Ukrainian people, more than somebody on the earth, knows about power of joint effects. So I trust that such forum as this united us and give us possibility to address challenges face us. According to Ukraine, you know, before the war, we implemented European directives such as Water Framework Directive, Marine Strategy Directive, and some others. We developed our own marine strategy. And for now, we have a little bit different priorities. Ukraine hasn't big opportunities to resolve issues connecting this area, but all our people understand that we have to think about our future for now, and this future in the health of the Black Sea too. And sometimes people ask me, what do you think? How we can develop blue economy in the Black Sea region during the war? But I say that during the war, we have to think about our future after the war, after our victory. For now, this our voluntaries, this governmental structure, this army, these NGOs collect information about environmental situation in coastal line and using removal methods under the all the Black Sea, and try to do our best to resolve the tasks, challenges what we have this environment of the Black Sea. And the end of my speech, I would like to say thank you for all of you, because without your support for us, it will be impossible. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Viktor, for sharing the latest from your side. Yeah, it's hard to say anything on after your speech, but we are with you. We are trying to support you and your team in every way that we can, and we are very sure that you will prevail, and then we will continue. We are already continuing our work, but we will continue with you and your team in person in the very near future. We are very sure of that. So yes, in final moments of this session, if there is any burning questions or contributions, other types of national contributions, if that you would like to share with us. I see Rusudan would like to take the floor. Please, Rusudan. And in the meantime, Pınar, if you can review the chat, if there's any input in the chat, you can also share that with us.
Thank you very much, and thank you very much. I express my gratitude towards all participants and panelists, and especially I would like to express my appreciation towards Ukrainian side, because they are under the war and they are struggling because we have the same enemies, and you know that Georgia's 20% of Georgia's territory is occupied by Russian forces. And your part is very well known, and I wish you all success and so prosperity. And as for our spirit in terms of maritime research. As a foundation, we are planning to elaborate such kind of international bilateral or trilateral call, which will gather Black Sea region founders in one scope. It could be the scope of maritime research. So we have already drafted such scheme, which could put forward this proposal, the idea that could be promote and assist to the internationalization process, because science does not boundaries, and this also will contribute to the science diplomacy. So I was happy to see our partner from the JUPITAC. We have very good partnership with the Turkish side. We have a good partnership with the Ukrainian side. I encourage other our international partners to join our efforts and to scheme together these bilateral or multilateral cooperation. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Rusudan. Fully agree. Really nice comments, and thank you for also summarizing the state of the cooperation in the region. Any other questions or comments for our speakers? Okay, apparently no more comments, but let me just share with you a few of the next steps. Of course, Barış will provide you the broader next steps in a few moments, but our operational network of funders is now active with the participation of the Black Sea countries. And next steps in next few months, between especially December and March, there will be national level implementation plan consultations. So the country representatives that you have met today, also with the Black Sea Connect partners, they will be facilitating the gathering of the input from national level to the Syria implementation plan. So you, as belonging to different stakeholder groups, you will have a chance. You always have the chance to reaching us, of course, but at your national level, you will have a chance to further give your input and shape up the Syria implementation plan with us. So you can give your input through those consultations, and you will have a chance to also include your voice. So we thank to our country representatives once again. Really, they are taking this additional burden, in a way, additional work of also dealing with the Syria, connecting science and policy. We are very thankful to them. But we are also very thankful to Wendy Bond from DG RTD. It wasn't easy to really bring different players together. She's behind all these efforts, helping us as the Connect team. She's helping the Connect team to really collect the nominations and bring you together. So we are very happy that we will be also discussing our implementation plan in the next few hours. So before we finish, actually, you have heard from countries also different contributions. Here I would like to reiterate the call from Elizabeth and Ziggy to endorse the mission charter. I think these are different level country and local level contributions we are looking for the endorsement of the mission. And as the Connect team, we are here also to help you to fill in the form, and if you have questions about how to do that, we have just done it. We have the experience, so we will be happy to share how we did it. So with this, thank you to our speakers here, and also to Melike Ergun online and Victor for your contributions. And now maybe we can still have you here. Pınar, what do you think? Do we need? Okay, maybe we can also allow you and clap you once away. So now I would like to give the floor to Barış for the closing of the event.
Okay. When we first thought about this forum, we were talking with Vangelis Olgaç, Mustafa Ülgen, and Pınar Ezgi, and I was telling them that my dream is that we have a forum that really shows us what the next steps are and what's beyond the state of art. And I believe this forum has greatly succeeded this. I'm very happy and I'm very impressed. So I thank everyone that has contributed. But to summarize in a few lines, what this forum has shown us is that certain policies are there. And there are many support tools, especially what we have seen yesterday under the Mission Ocean and Waters and the partnership. There will be sufficient support for research and innovation. We have also seen that current state is not very promising. The current state of our oceans under many stressors, including litter, is not very promising. And litter is one of the main threats today. And the projections that we have seen until 2060, they're worrisome. If we continue as today, what we will face is really worrying. But on the other hand, there's hope, because we have the technologies, as we have seen today. We have the technologies both to reduce, mitigate, and also to clean, to a certain extent, this litter from our oceans. And so we have a certain capacity to develop tools to fight this war against plastic. But in order to avoid these projections that we have seen yesterday, we need to very quickly change our lifestyles, our policies, our legislations. These should change very fast. And again, we have the tools to do that. We have seen that there are many great projects and there are many great efforts towards public awareness and towards education of children, youngsters, and outreach programs are there. Only through these programs, only through educating youngsters, children, and the public, our lifestyles will change, legislations, policies will change. So I believe the hope is there, and I'm pretty sure that these projections that we have seen yesterday will hopefully change, and the plastic pollution in the oceans will start reducing in the very near future. And there are many people to thank. I mean, as you have seen, there was a great effort behind this forum. There are many people to thank, and there was the steering group from the countries that got together 4 times, putting the agenda together. And just quickly, I would like to give their names. From Bulgaria, Petya and Nina. From Georgia, Kaka, Nino, Inessa, Mamuka. From Moldova, Lucia, Tudor. From Romania, Irina and Selma. From Ukraine, Julia and Olena gave great effort. And from Turkey, Vangelis Olgaç, Pınar Ezgi, Mustafa Özgün, Ülgen, and myself, we worked on this. Also, EXP, İdil Hanım is here. They did a lot in the background, and Mediabox as well. They were in the background working very hard. But there were 3 people that really worked day and night and made this happen. So if you allow me, I would like to invite Vangelis Olgaç and Pınar to the stage. I would like to thank to all the online participants, ONF group. We'll continue with them this afternoon. I guess this is the end. Sorry? We have lunch outside, by the way. Yeah.